Hello everyone, welcome back to part 3 of my day 1 of free agency recap. In today's video, we're looking at the Pacific Division. What did each team do in the Pacific Division on July 1st via signings to improve their team for this upcoming season? We'll get to all the updates from our past little while coming up right now. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video here at the End-to-End Hockey channel. Now before we get started, don't forget to like this video and subscribe down below. Thank you for all of your support. I would never be able to do this without all of you guys. So if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe button down below. Don't forget to leave a comment. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. So thank you for everyone. Stay tuned for more videos coming up in the next little while. So in today's video, we've got part 3 of our 4-part day 1 of free agency signing recap. Today we are looking at the Pacific Division. It was a very entertaining day 1 in the Pacific Division. Lots of very interesting moves. So we'll get right to it and see how each Pacific Division improved to get better for this upcoming season. So we'll start with the Anaheim Ducks. Quite simple for them. They made one July 1st signing, and it was a big one with one of the bigger, more premium type players on the market, and that was Mikael Granlund. Granlund, who spent last year the first part of it in San Jose, was dealt to Dallas at the trade deadline, and then finished the season with Dallas. Winds up going back to California, this time playing with Anaheim. 3-year deal, $7 million AAV. Now, Granlund's a good guy, don't get me wrong. I thought he would have probably gone $5 to $6 million. $7 million is an overpayment, but the Ducks are a team who I think can afford to overpay a player or two because they have a whole bunch of cap space. I think Granlund can be a solid middle six guy on a younger team, be a veteran sort of presence, and I think that could be a really solid move there for the Anaheim Ducks. So as much as it is a little bit of an overpayment, I don't think it's too bad of a move. The Ducks want to bring in Mikael Granlund. Then we saw the Calgary Flames make 3 July 1st signings as they brought back Joel Hanley, a 2-year deal with an AAV of $1.75 million. They brought in Ivan Prosvetov, who played last year in the KHL on a 1-year $950,000 deal, and they brought in Nick Ceci on a 1-year league minimum deal. So Cicic's the AHL defenseman, has been able to be a call-up option in the past, so I think that's probably what he's going to be in the Calgary Flames organization. AHL player, could be a call-up option. Hanley's a little bit surprising. He's been mostly a 7-8 defenseman throughout his entire career, now getting some stints at the NHL level this year for the Calgary Flames consistently as a third pair guy. So obviously the Flames saw enough to sign him to a 2-year deal at almost $2 million. I think it's a tiny bit of an overpayment. I thought maybe he would have gotten a deal closer to $1 million, but I don't think it's too drastic of an overpayment. And if the Flames really do feel he can be a solid third pair defenseman, that sort of makes sense as to why they would sign him to something like this. And then the Flames also signed Ivan Prosvetov. Prosvetov last year played in the KHL. In the past, he was in the Arizona, Colorado organizations. He has the potential to be a solid backup goaltender. And I do think we'll challenge Cooley for the backup role to Dustin Wolf this year in the Flames organization. So very interesting note there. But the Flames made 3 day 1 signings. Then we look at the Edmonton Oilers as they made also 3 day 1 signings. They first signed Andrew Mangiapane, one of the better wingers on the market, to a 2-year extension with the AAV of $3.6 million. And then they signed Matt Tompkins and Riley Stillman to 2-year deals at league minimum. So Stillman has had NHL experience in the past, but over the past 2-3 seasons has been mostly an AHL player. So I think he'll probably start in the AHL level. Could be a call-up option, maybe if they don't just major third pair defenseman. Tompkins is like a 3rd, 4th stringer, so with them moving off of Oliver Rodrigue, I definitely think Tompkins will have a shot to be a team 3rd stringer next year. So that's some interesting signings. And they also get Andrew Mangiapane. Mangiapane at $3.6 million is not overly bad. A couple of years ago, he had a really solid 30-plus goal season in Calgary. Since then, I don't even think he's been up to the 20-goal mark since then. So like, I definitely think Mangiapane really needs to find his goal-scoring form. I think in Edmonton he could do that. I think he'd be a middle 6 forward, play with a guy like Connor McDavid, and get that goal-scoring back up there for the Edmonton Oilers. So $3.6 million for 2 years. I don't think it's overly bad given Mangiapane's age. So some very interesting signings, but I like the Mangiapane signing, and they add some depth on defense and goaltending. So very interesting note there. The LA Kings made 6 signings, and they were all pretty much high-priced deals. The first one was Ceci. Ceci's a good third pair defenseman. I think he will be in Los Angeles. Angeles signs a 4-year contract with AAV of $4.5 million, which is a drastic overpayment for what Ceci brings. Dumoulin, who's also getting up there in age, gets a 3-year deal, AAV of $4 million. Yoel Armia gets signed by LA to a 2-year deal at $2.5 million. Forsberg, same thing, 2 years, $2.5 million. Corey Perry gets a 1-year deal with $2 million AAV, potential of $4 million in bonuses. And they also get Cole Gutman, who gets a 1-year league minimum deal. Gutman, mostly an AHL player, just some added forward depth, so I don't mind that deal too much. Perry, they need to give some added bonuses, so we'll see how much bonuses Perry actually makes. But 1 year, $2 million, which is the base salary, I don't think is too bad for a solid bottom 6 forward who's still a pest to play against. Forsberg gets 2 years of $2.5 million. I'm surprised they went with Forsberg as their backup instead of a guy like Copley or Portillo. But obviously they feel like they need someone who can be a solid backup to Kemper. I think that's a decent signing, but $2.5 million I think might have been a little bit too much for Forsberg. Yoel Armia, 2 years, $2.5 million. It's a little bit of a down payment from his last contract. I still feel like he would have gone closer to a $2 million mark, but he's a solid bottom 6 forward, can play in the penalty kill, so I definitely think it's not an overly bad sign there for the Kings. And then Dumoulin and Ceci. I think those two guys are very solid third pair guys. I think on shorter term, lower AAV deals, those would have been steals of deals for the LA Kings. But Dumoulin at $4 million AAV and Ceci at a $4.5 million AAV are drastic overpayments. So very interesting note there. Some very interesting signings from Los Angeles, but I definitely think Ceci and Dumoulin's are really much overpayments, and maybe even to some extent Perry's and Armia's. So very interesting note there. Then you had the San Jose Sharks. They made 5 day 1 signings. They signed William Eklund, who was an RFA, to a 3-year contract extension, AAV of $5.6 million. They signed John Klingberg to a 1-year deal with AAV of $4 million. They signed Adam Gaudette to a 2-year deal with AAV of $2 million. And they signed Philip Kurashev to a 1-year deal with AAV of $1.2 million. Also re-signing UFA Colin White to a 1-year league minimum deal. So White, at this point in his career, is more of an AHL guy, call-up option. Probably will be next year again in San Jose. Eklund, great signing, $5.6 million on a bridge deal. Should keep him in the top 6 for the foreseeable future, so that's a solid move there for the Sharks. And then the Sharks team needs to get to the salary cap floor. So Klingberg, 1 year, $4 million, not too bad. He should be able to play on the right side, be third pair defenseman, maybe even a second pair defenseman. I think if they get to the deadline, they're out of the playoffs, they could be a trade chip. It's not a bad sign there for the Sharks. Kurashev is on the younger side. He was a guy who was not qualified by the Chicago Blackhawks. 1 year, $1.2 million for a middle 6 forward who has the potential to put up 40 to 50 points. I don't think that's a bad deal there for the Sharks. They also get Adam Gaudette, who almost had 20 goal season in Ottawa last year. 2 years, $2 million to be a solid bottom 6 forward. You can do worse than that for the San Jose Sharks. So very interesting note there, but not a bad signing spree there for the San Jose Sharks. There's the Seattle Kraken. They made 2 day 1 signings in free agency. The first one was Matt Murray, signed to a 1-year deal with AAV of $1 million. And the second one was Ryan Lindgren, who had a 4-year deal with AAV of $4.5 million. So Matt Murray is going to be the team's third stringer this year. If there aren't just some injuries with Grubauer or DeCord, Murray can be a suitable backup for a short stint. So I don't think 1 year, $1 million for a suitable third stringer is too bad there for the Kraken. Lindgren's a very interesting one. He's a left shot defenseman, really rough and tumble, hard to play against defenseman, blocks a lot of shots. 4 years of $4.5 million, I think definitely an overpayment. I thought Lindgren probably would have gone closer to $3 million. Kraken overpay for him, I think, here, but I think he could be the long-term solution for Oleksiak, who's entering the final year of his deal. So if the Kraken do end up playing Oleksiak walk or trade him at the trade deadline, and they have that sort of a hole, I think Lindgren could definitely fit in well, placing Oleksiak, and he's a little bit younger. So as much as I do think it's a little bit of an overpayment for the Seattle Kraken, I don't think it's an overly atrocious deal. So very interesting note there, but those were the only 2 signings there from the Kraken on July 1st. Then the Vancouver Canucks made 6 July 1st signings, 2 extensions that won't even kick in until next season, as they signed Demko to a 3-year, $8.5 million AAV deal, and Garland to a 6-year, $6 million AAV deal. I like the Garland deal. He's a solid middle 6 forward, been a really solid point producer these past couple of years in Vancouver, and I think going forward he's going to be a stellar addition at only $6 million. I definitely think the Demko is a little bit of an overpayment. I definitely don't think Demko's an $8.5 million goalie, but if he's healthy, he can be a solid top 10, top 15 goalie in the NHL, and I definitely think that it's only a 3-year deal, so if 1 to 2 years into this deal it's not working overly well, they could potentially trade him or buy him out or something like that. So very interesting note there, but a couple of extensions made by Vancouver. They also brought back Brock Boeser, a 7-year deal with AAV of $7.25 million. So it's probably one of the top 3-4 free agents when July 1st actually hit. After checking out the market, he goes back to Vancouver. So the Canucks keep a crucial top 6 winger who's a year removed from a 40-goal season. So not a bad contract there. I definitely think that the Canucks budged on the term of this deal and Boeser on the AAV, because I definitely think Boeser was looking for $8 to $9 million AAV. And definitely think the Canucks were only willing to go like 5 or 4 years on a new deal. So the Canucks go 7 years and Boeser takes the AAV down to 7.25. So very interesting note there, and a solid work there as the Canucks are able to keep Brock Boeser. They also signed Mackenzie McCracken and Jeremy Sheldon to 2-year league minimum deals, and Joey LeBate to a 1-year league minimum deal. These are all AHL level players. LeBate and Sheldon I don't think have ever played the NHL level. Well, McCracken has had limited time. I do think could replace a guy like Phil DiGiuseppe as like a solid AHL player who could be called upon if need be. So very interesting note there. But a couple of really solid depth adds there for the Canucks. They bring back Boeser and they extend Granlund and Demko. So very interesting note there. Well, Vegas Golden Knights made 3 day 1 signings, all smaller end ones. They sent Cole Reinhardt to a 2-year $813,000 deal, Jacob Megna to a 2-year $800,000 deal, and Dylan Coughlin to a 1-year league minimum deal. Coughlin was in the Vegas Golden Knights organization previously, has been bouncing around the last couple of seasons. Could be a really solid 6-7 defenseman there for the Vegas Golden Knights, maybe get some opportunities on the third pair. Well, Megna and Reinhardt both depth adds there for the Vegas Golden Knights. I could see Reinhardt challenge for being like a spare forward or fourth liner on the Vegas Golden Knights next year, while I also could see Megna challenge for an NHL, but most likely be an AHL player. So some very, very interesting signings here, as Reinhardt, Megna, and Coughlin were all added to the Vegas Golden Knights depth after July 1st signings. So very interesting note there. Some of the busier teams were Vancouver, who I think did really good, by able to keep Boeser, and also some of their extensions were pretty good. It sounds like Sharks made a couple of interesting moves. Some guys who could potentially be dealt at the trade deadline. They also bring in William Eklund on a 3-year bridge deal, so very interesting note there. The Kings made some very interesting moves. I do think Ceci and Perry to the bottom 6 is going to help that forward group. Don't want to see if they think can be third pair defensemen, just don't like the contracts they're on. I definitely think Mangiapane is going to be a solid add there for the Oilers, and I definitely think Granlund is going to improve the Ducks' top 9. So very interesting note there. But those were the July 1st signings for the Pacific Division as free agency opened, and that's how this sort of wound up happening for the Pacific Division. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. Who do you think won day 1 there for the Pacific Division? Who do you think lost day 1 for the Pacific Division? And who do you think wound up getting better? Definitely have your thoughts on all of that down in the comment section below. That's all I'm going to talk for today. Remember to like this video, and if you really like to subscribe below. Thank you for all of your support. I would never be able to do this without all of you guys. So if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe button down below. Don't forget to leave a comment. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. Also a blog, topic news, rumors, analysis, stuff for that. So remember to check that out. Everyone's in the description below. Can't wait to see you guys all for the next video. See you guys soon.